we're part of the natural world, and so much of our modern world seems to deny that.
What can two people, just two of them, do? The farmer and the urbanite, what can they do?
And that's part of what my goal as a chef is now, is to really put people back in touch with food and where it came from.
Exactly how the 7 million people of New York City, some of them anyway, get in touch with real food, fresh food. That's up next on Chefs Afield.
How are you?
Time for apricot tarts.
You bet. That's what we're serving.
Peter Hoffman of Savoy Restaurant in New York City, a James Beard Award winner, head of the Chefs Collaborative, an organization devoted to connecting chefs and farmers. How much does he mean it? Well, Peter Hoffman shops here at the Union Square Green Market in New York City just about every day of the year with his customized low-tech, non-polluting freight system. While all about him the world goes for fast and cheap and easy and plastic, Peter Hoffman slows down. He's pedaling, not flooring it. He is tasting, not gulping.
Extraordinary. Oh, yeah.
Peter's thoughts and ideals are in harmony with those of Keith Stewart, a transplanted New Zealander in upstate New York, a man with hands and heart in the soil.
I've done plenty of other things in my life before I started to become a farmer. None were so rewarding to me, just psychically.
Please try to picture Farmer Stewart as a young man, snazzy in coat and tie, commuting to a busy corporate office. Right, it didn't work for him either. He also tried driving a taxi, but found his home and his love in this dirt in New York State, 65 miles away from the big city.
That's your lavender there?
Yeah, this stuff is selling great these days.
Good. Yeah, we've been using it.
People love it. People love it, yeah. I gotta cut my quota for tomorrow.
Right.
See all the honeybees in here.
Yeah. So do you ever get stung?
Once in a while, but you're more likely to get stung if you go over near their hives. They seem to sort of tolerate us in here, like it's a shared lavender.
Shared property. Yeah, great. Do you know what people are doing with it?
A lot of people are just using it as decoration. I mean, as flowers in a vase because of the beautiful blue flowers. But I know some are making teas and ice creams and sherbets and.
We're making ice cream with it. You got a great technique here for cutting the lavender.
Well, thank you, Peter. Yeah, I'm kind of proud of it. The rubber band's on my thumb and a glove on this hand always so I don't cut myself. I just reach in, I basically grab the amount of the bunch, I roll a rubber band off my left hand and just wrap it around the bunch, and there it is.
Rubber bands right at the ready. So you probably have enough lavender. What other herbs do you need to be cutting?
I think I do, yeah. Well, I got rosemary on my list today.
Okay.
She's just over there, so.
Great.
Should we go get some?
Yeah, let's go get that.
This is nice looking stuff.
Yeah, it's beautiful.
This I overwintered in the greenhouse. That's why it's so big.
So this is just 2 years old then?
Yes.
Yeah.
Even less than that.
Yeah.
Yeah, people love rosemary, especially in the fall. That's when we sell a lot of rosemary. I mean, it's a bit more of a cooking herb, I guess.
Right. You want to be stewing longer time with it. I like it in a marinade for lamb.
Do you think you ever notice any difference in taste between the organic versus the conventional food?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, and I've actually done side-by-side tastings of certain products. People sort of laugh at me about it when I talk about it in the kitchen, or about a sort of more asparagus-ness or more garlic-ness. And you can't say that it's something different. It's just concentration and...
It's hard to quantify, but it's...
Yeah, because it is, but it's there. Have you cut
I think
all
I
the
got
rosemary?
all the I think I got my quota of rosemary for today.
So, Maybe we should go over and look at the garlic, because I
Yeah,
love
I'd love
your
to show
garlic.
you.
And
Yeah.
Keith Stewart, custodian of this small acreage, grower of garlic with an extraordinary reputation, caretaker of 100 varieties of vegetables. He worries, have people forgotten where food comes from? Have they forgotten what real taste is?
You need it. You need the diversity in your communities.
yeah.
You need people to see food grown and know that it's grown within reach. I mean, it's almost a philosophical thing that they're fundamental principles.
Yeah, I think people have forgotten how food is actually
It's-
grown
it's-
and where it
it's-
comes from, and
That's
that's
kind of important stuff. I mean, it's you know, it's the healthy land, healthy food, healthy people.
my goal as a chef is to really put people back in touch with food and where it came from, and that we're part of the natural world.
Right.
It's not, you can't extrude it all, you can't create it all, you can't snap your fingers and have it all at your feet. There are things that are, in fact, out of season. I'm sorry they're not available right now.
That is really what it boils down to, Peter. I mean, we're part of the natural world, and so much of our modern world seems to deny that, what seems to me a very self-evident reality. It's one of the reasons I became a farmer, I think.
This garlic didn't get clipped.
Well, I like to leave a few like that because they're just so impressive. It's true that if you remove this scape stalk and the whole bulb at the top, you generally will get a somewhat bigger bulb. But they're just magnificent things. I mean, you almost
okay,
gotta,
so you just did it for aesthetic purposes.
yeah, and we hang
Yeah.
them at the stand. We'll have a sheaf of these, you know, hanging on a corner of the stand, and people come up and say, "Wow, so that's how garlic grows," you know.
Yeah, exactly. Tell me a story.
And what is this thing at the top?
Right. Yeah.
Which not all garlic has. Each leaf comes down and enfolds the bulb as a bulb wrapper.
Right.
And I mean, look at that. I mean, how's that for a beautiful,
It's beautiful.
beautiful clove of garlic?
Right.
And this peels easily.
Yeah.
This is why chefs love it. I mean, look at that. Isn't that perfection?
Yeah. It's beautiful.
And the flavor,
Yeah.
something else.
Yeah. Well, that's why I love it, not because it's easy to peel. Right.
But I mean, that is a beautiful thing.
It sure is. A couple weeks back, we were making a garlic custard with it, just sort of steeping the garlic cloves in some milk and whisking some eggs in, and then setting it as a custard, and it's just
Boy.
velvet texture and great, great sweet flavor.
I would like to try that.
Yeah, okay. We'll get you to stay over after market day.
Garlic custard.
Yeah, garlic custard, really good.
The big city and its unforgiving traffic. Peter Hoffman eases and squeezes that custom bike of his on his way to the green market. Food from market to table in a matter of hours. Move it along. That's what they've always done in these freighted streets. Hurry. 5 times a week, pedaling in and out of New York City traffic.
Okay, let's keep traveling.
Farmers markets are now everywhere. By the close of the 20th century, there were more than 3,000.
Let's see.
Peter Hoffman has been coming here, loading up his bicycle, long enough to have become someone who is consulted.
Hey, Dan. How are you?
Good morning. What's good today?
Oh, well, apricots. Tomatoes are really starting.
More than fresh food, the market means you get to know people and trust what they bring. A sort of community exchange.
Yeah, 3 low-fat quarts, please. It's good milk. This is home consumption. We know who's producing it. We know the cows. No RBGH. Not completely organic, but the fields are organic. See you later. Thank you. it's not the height of heirlooms yet. Right, so, but he's got some wonderful tomatoes. I have some on reserve over there, so that's where I'm buying. But the cherry tomatoes from Keith are extraordinary.
Thanks, Peter.
Nice to see you. These are an extraordinary strawberry. They're a cross between a wild strawberry that was found in a box canyon in the Southwest, crossed with the traditional local berry. I'm gonna do corn here, then we have to stop off at Dave the Honeyman, Keith, tomatoes, eggs, then figure out what I didn't get on the list and double back around. I'm not big on sort of pulling it back and doing that. I want to keep it fresh and moist as long as possible. In terms of how fresh the corn is what's the condition of the stem here where it was broken off. I can tell sort of how long ago the corn was picked, so that's an issue for me. Hey, Henry. Where? So I buy all my eggs here at the market from a farmer. We find that they're far, far better than the conventionally produced eggs for baking, in taste. It was sort of extraordinary to see sort of how things changed when we decided to make the leap and say we're gonna make sure we're getting the best in our eggs. Okay.
The heirloom tomato, the heirloom apple, heirloom anything. It means the seed is true and not a hybrid. It means it goes back 100 years, 1,000 years. Here in early summer in Manhattan, the heirloom tomato is the prize find.
I don't know, he's doing many transactions there on the back of the truck. These are beautiful. Do you know when peppers are gonna start?
Peppers should be in late August, beginning of September.
That late? Okay, good. Hey, Tim?
Yeah?
You got some...
How are you?
Good, you?
What are you looking for?
Something red, larger?
Okay, I'm out of them here, but I think I might have... I think I have a little bit left
Okay.
here, yeah.
Brandywines, Cherokee red.
That's a Cherokee purple.
That's a Cherokee purple. This section isn't really ripe, and this part is, and people didn't want that, again, those imperfections, and so they said, well, give me a tomato that maybe tastes a little bit less powerful, but ripens and grows evenly. Yeah, I'm gonna pay you cash. So the idea about heirlooms is that they were varieties that were held on to because they had great flavor, but weren't necessarily adaptable to mass production.
So what are you seeing in the market today that you think's good?
Well, let's see. What's been really, you know...
Work your way up through the...
Right, and work my way up north through the ecosystem.
Right.
Well, you know, it's in my blood, Keith. I don't think I could not come to the market, actually, and live in New York City. The way we were talking yesterday about being in touch with nature, I realized that this is my way of being in the heart of the metropolitan area and being in touch with the seasons, being in touch with the natural world, having great product to cook with and be inspired by. That's what fuels me as a cook and as an eater. My community is here, and as I go through the market, I see customers and I see chefs, and so we talk shop, and I talk about shop with the producers as well, and that's really the heart of my community, is right here in this market.
It's an inspiration for us too.
Yeah.
I mean, that's what makes us grow things and try new things, and it's the feedback and the enthusiasm we get from people like you and a lot of our just regular consumers.
Sure.
People that go home with some garlic and potatoes.
Well, those regular
and
those regular consumers are the people who also eat in my restaurant because they know the difference.
Right.
Yeah.
When he's loaded up with produce, all the greens and the boxes of berries, plus that carton of egginess, and the precious tomatoes, Peter Hoffman is then on his way to his kitchen at Savoy, a restaurant that one New York food writer called the most welcoming in the city.
I think what's key for all chefs and all good cooking is starting with great ingredients. We have probably 50 purveyors. It's a almost arcane process because of our commitment to getting the best product. A efficiency analyst would come into the restaurant and say, you guys are working way too hard. You got to simplify the approach here. We do it because what we end up with is product that we love and that we're proud of and that customers know the difference when they put it in their mouths. What I'm going to prepare today is a very simple salad. It's heirloom tomatoes set against a salad of purslane and grilled eggplant. What I'm interested in doing is having you be excited by the tomato, not be excited by what I can do. What I'm going to do is slice the tomato and sprinkle a little salt on it, and the joy then is in eating the tomato and seeing what came out of the earth. So to start off, I'm going to take some eggplant, simply grill it. This is a Japanese variety that a number of people grow, and I'm going to simply slice it. I'm going to brush it with some olive oil, sprinkle a little salt, and then it goes on the grill. While that's cooking, I'm going to start to put together the tomato plate. Heirloom's kind of a funny word. It means that something's been passed down. And in this case, what they're talking about is that the seeds are open pollinated, so you don't need somebody hybridizing, making the crosses. It also implies to me that somebody's cherished these for some reason. And the reason is not because they all ripen at the same time or that they store well in a box for a week, which is why a large commercial grower might select a seed, but rather that they were cherished because of their taste. Or maybe they were actually cherished because of their shape and color. This happens to be a great tasting tomato, but it's also a wondrous thing. What I like to do working with these tomatoes is cut them in a way that you get to see some of the beauty of the tomatoes and the shapes. So I'm going to take this long one and cut it in half. I have then this large sun gold, which I'm going to just cut in half, set over here. Then I have a black Krim, it's called, I believe. It's a tomato out of Russia. And I'm actually setting that against the other textures and other shapes. I have 4 different varieties of tomato on the plate now, and I'm going to do a salad with some purslane. It's got a nice tanginess to it and a succulent texture. I'm going to toss it with my eggplant. Mix it with a little vinaigrette that we made with Savoy. I sprinkled a little salt on the salad, and I'm going to toss it. Now, I'm a big believer in playing with your food, I guess. I think the only way to really toss a salad is with your hands, not with tongs. And there's a couple reasons for that. Our fingers are much more delicate. They can respond to the leaves and not damage them. And so now I'm going to plate it. As you can see, I'm not a big believer in overly structured plates. There we have it. I'm going to sprinkle a little bit of salt just to bring out the sweet juiciness and the acidity of the tomato, and then a little bit of extra virgin olive oil over the whole thing. And that's a nice summer starter. What we're going to make now is a garlic custard with Keith's garlic, which you can see here is a big, beautiful bulb. Still has a little bit of the dirt on it, but nice and firm and solid. And as he showed us on the farm, the leaves peel back and very easily. It's just a sweet and velvety texture. So here it is. You can see these cloves are huge and easy to peel. The recipe calls for cooking the garlic cloves in some chicken stock with some bay leaf, a little salt, and then reducing that down. After you've reduced that and you have sort of this concentrated chicken garlic juice, we're going to mix it with cream and egg yolks to make the custard. And then we bake that off into some small ramekins. We're going to do about a cup of garlic cloves with about a cup of chicken stock. It gets then a little salt, and I put that on the stove, bring it to a boil, and then just let it simmer down until it's well reduced. So now my chicken stock has reduced, my garlic is cooked. It's actually, it's done, it's soft. I can squeeze it. What I'm gonna pour in now is half and half. That's gonna be the base of my custard. I'm gonna put that back on the stove and just make sure that the chicken stock and the garlic are incorporated. I'm gonna whisk in some egg yolks. Then I see that I have that well incorporated. I have some little ramekins that I'm gonna cook the custard off in that I just simply butter. I'm gonna ladle it into the ramekins, making sure that I have some cloves of garlic going right into the custard. Everybody wants at least one. And then I'm gonna put them in the oven in a bain-marie that is sort of in a hot water bath so that they're not cooking too forcefully. And I'm gonna cover that so that they're steaming a little bit. You want to check in on them after about half an hour. They look like they're nicely set. I'm going to pass my little paring knife around it just to sort of help loosen it up. We're going to serve this garlic custard now that's finished with a little bit of lamb that came from a farmer in Pennsylvania and some string beans that we bought from Franca at the Green Market yesterday. So one thing that's good to do if you can is to sort of start with the plate on top. I may want to sort of give it a shake. So there's my custard. When I go to the Green Market and I buy directly from the grower, everybody's invested. He knows that he wants to make sure that I'm happy. I want to make sure that what I then serve my customer is going to make them happy, and it's all about taste. How many peach trees do you have, Keith?
When farmer and customer come face to face, they wipe away the last, roughly 50 years, when food in America became anonymous.
This is great.